Why, hello. This is Tav the Legend, and today we're going to be talking about another Baldur's Gate 3 build. This is going to be another monk build, and today we're actually going to be talking about Lae'zel. Lae'zel comes to us as a fighter, but we're going to work towards level 9 monk and level 3 of rogue as our level 12 build. And I'm going to show you how to level her up slowly, little by little, and then I'll show you a little demonstration of combat without any equipment, just to give you an idea as to how the build plays on balanced difficulty, and of course with tactician difficulty and items it would work just the same. All right, so the basic core of the build is monk level 9, which gives us a lot of options in combat. We are open hand monk, so we're going to be punching hard. We have a lot of crowd control and the ability to push and stagger enemies of various sizes. That's going to come in very handy. And a level 3 of rogue gives us the thief subclass, which gives us a second bonus action to be able to be used for various things, which is right here, and we can use that for our flurry of blows and a variety of other things. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to start the game with a monk. When you meet Lae'zel, she's going to be a fighter, most likely a level 2 fighter, although you do meet her right in the tutorial as level 1, and eventually you'll catch up with her at level 2. And soon after that, you'll be able to respec your characters, and that's when you can make the switch. Now, you could continue on with fighter all the way, but with this playthrough, we're actually going to take her as a monk character for the first 9 levels. Let's get started with level 1 in monk. We are a dexterity-based monk, and we want to make sure our dexterity is our number 1 stat, followed closely by wisdom. This gives us a combined AC of 16, which is the same as a heavy armor user early on. So you're actually going to be very protected right off the bat. As far as skill proficiencies go, I like to keep them as they are, although you can certainly pick up stealth if you want to do a more stealthy playthrough, but for the most part, what she starts with and has is okay. Let's get into level 2. Level 2 is, again, straight monk, so we're going to continue on. We get a few abilities that handle movement. That's going to be very good for us. At level 3, we get to choose our subclass, and we're actually going to take Weight of the Open Hand. When you're leveling, you can experiment with the other subclasses, but this actually gives us some good crowd control. We can use Stagger, which takes away reactions from enemies. We can go ahead and push people off cliffs, and we can topple them to knock prone. All for the cost of 1 key point. At monk level 4, we can take a look at our feats. There are a couple of interesting options in here. For simplicity's sake, we are actually going to go with the ability improvement skill, but there are some other interesting options to consider. Namely, I like taking mobile, so you become a striker. Because when you are mobile, you have extra movement, and when you attack, you do not provoke attack of opportunity, so you just smack some enemies and run out of their reach safe. But with a good AC, Lae'zel is actually able to take a surprising amount of hits. So we're actually going to go ahead and take an ability improvement. And we're not going to take the dexterity one yet, although we certainly can at this point. What I like to do is I would like to bump the wisdom a little bit higher, because that's going to enable something else down the road that's going to be very useful for us. So let's go ahead and pick that up. Perfect. Monk level 5, we're going to continue on, and this is where our wisdom will come into play, because not only do we get extra attack, but we have Stunning Strike, which does use your wisdom for the DC save, so you can actually have a chance to stun very powerful boss-like enemies and other strong creatures, and that's going to help you out a lot. Perfect. At monk level 6, we get a few subclass-specific abilities, and the most notable are the game-powered strikes. So you are able to overcome resistances to standard weapons and bludgeoning, slashing, piercing damage. That's going to be real good, because we're going to be using our fists and whatever magical weapons we can find along the way. You get your choice of manifestation of body, mind, and soul, which is either psychic, radiant, or necrotic damage. Your choice. So you kind of pick your favorite as you go along, experiment with all of them, and depending on the items that you find along the way, you'll be able to pick whichever one applies the best. And the most important ability at level 6 is Wholeness of the Body, which lets you regain your half of your key points, which is fantastic. But more importantly, lets you enter into a temporary state of wholeness where you regain key points and have extra bonus actions. You get a little flavor of that extra bonus action very quickly at level 6, and you'll get a taste for how this build will operate at higher levels. At level 7, there's nothing too fancy with the monk, except you get to evade some stuff and get more key points. At level 8, now it is time to pick up dexterity. We just need one extra point to get us into an 18 dexterity situation. So what I like to do in here, you have a couple of options. You can either take your ability improvements, and along with some items and some choices you can make in Act 1 that would have bumped your dex to 18 just by itself. That would put you at 20, which would cap the stat for you. That's very nice. I like doing something slightly different, which is picking up the athlete feat right here. We can bump our dexterity to 18, which is very respectable. This gives us a huge jumping distance, which is fantastic. Now at monk level 9, we have a few things to happen. We get an increase in our unarmed movement. That's pretty great. We also have a higher dice that is used for unarmed combat. So when she hits, she's going to use a D8 instead of a D6 for her rolls. And we have some interesting actions, which enable quite a lot on this build. An action and a bonus action. And you can hit multiple enemies with these abilities. And what it's going to do is it's going to give the resonant debuff for 10 turns to the enemy that you hit. And as a free action for the cost of a key point, you can actually detonate any enemy that has this debuff on them, and they will all do damage to each other if they're real close by. The most notable feature or the most notable part of this ability is that this allows us to strike with our bare hands while having weapons equipped, which is not something you can do normally without just a bonus action. So this is actually going to allow us to itemize our monk with whatever weapon we find and use it almost like a stat stick or a buff. There are some very interesting weapons in the game that just allow you to have very interesting abilities, or just increase your crit range, or inflict extra damage from strikes, or give yourself advantage, things like that. And we're not going to be as concerned about the damage that the weapons themselves are going to provide, more so than the abilities of those weapons down the road. So let's go ahead and pick that up. Now at level 9, you have a pretty decent feel for how this class is going to play out. So the last 3 levels are actually, we're going to leave the monk class. The monk has been fantastic to us, but not much else to see there. We're going to go ahead and pick up the rogue, and that's going to allow us to sneak attack for both melee and ranged. We do make some use of that. And you get to have some skill proficiencies. Presumably you have somebody else taking care of your sleight of hand necessities of lockpicking and such, in which case we can go ahead and take those points right out of there. I suggest putting 1 point into athletics to make sure that we shove things successfully. I presume you also have somebody else taking care of your charisma duties, because as you can see, Lae'zel has not a lot of charisma and it's not a good scene. So we can actually take a look and see if we can put that somewhere else. You can't go wrong with perception. Throughout the whole game, you're going to be running into things that are hidden, and a high perception is extremely useful to be able to see them. You can also pick up the performance if you plan to have several of your characters perform music. It is fun in the game, but I like perception. That's going to give you a lot of hidden details as you go around the world. And onwards we go. Just 2 more levels to go. Rogue 2, that allows us to use one of our bonus actions that we will get later to either hide or dash or disengage, and that's going to make us a lot more mobile and gives you a lot of flexibility. And finally, at Rogue 3, character level 12, this is the max level, we're going to pick up the Thief class, and that gives us the additional bonus action that could be used for Flurry of Blows, your rogue abilities to disengage, to dash. You could do a lot of these things. You can actually dash twice, plus your action for your dash for 3 times to really boost your movements to incredible heights. All right, so that is our leveling process. Nope, we're gonna attack them right now. All right, so we're gonna attack these 2 guards, and I believe 2 more probably caught wind and will be joining very soon. All right, so as you can see, we don't have the greatest chance to hit some of the heavily armored characters, but we're again using no items and equipment. So what we're actually gonna do is we're gonna pop in Wholeness of Body. We're not gonna be able to heal, however, we're gonna get our bonus action right away. And we're going to start making good use of it immediately. So we're going to bonus action punch the heavily armored foe. Did not work. We're going to punch this little man right here. And then finally, we're going to try to, let's go ahead and stagger this guy right there. Oh, and we still have 1 more strike. We're going to try to topple him. Fantastic. Now he's prone. All right, let's go ahead and end the turn. The other guards are coming in fast and furious from the side. But it will take him a while to get to us, so we are not concerned at all. Oh, he knocked us prone, but that's a-okay because we can get up very easily. Now, let's go ahead and turn the corner there so the archers can't get us. Now that we're behind them, we have our action and 3 bonus actions. So let's go ahead and make good use of them. So this is our first strike. Let's go ahead and do a regular punch for key resonance. And let's go ahead and push. And let's push again. Oh, we accidentally pushed him straight into his doom. So in that case, we can actually, we have quite a few hit points. Let's go ahead, key points. Let's go ahead and put on Patient Defense, granting disadvantage to strike us. And let me show you what key resonance does, because we're not going to make use of it later on. But we can actually blow up some of these characters for a decent amount of damage right there. And again, remember, this is no equipment whatsoever. Nope. We are going to react with a monk ability of deflect missiles, which means we get to catch the missile and throw it right back at the target. Let's go ahead and finish off this fight right here. All right. And then let's see if we can actually make use of our last bonus action to get up top right here. Let's position ourselves in a good spot. Now these enemies are level 8, so they're a little lower level than us, but we are, again, not wearing any armor, using any equipment. This is just bare bones, if you will. Oh, I misclicked there, but for all you smart players, you're actually going to hit all of these reaction abilities, or whichever ones suit you. Alright, so our wholeness of the body has been spent. It was nice while it lasted. What we're going to do now is we're going to make excellent use of our key resonance. and I'll demonstrate exactly the power of such an ability. You're gonna go ahead and activate the blast. They each take a good portion of damage. And now that we've done that, let's see if we can maneuver us a little bit to a point where we can maybe throw one of these away. All right, we'll set up for key residence. She does need heal. But I think we can make it. So what we're going to do now is we are going to still can't throw anybody away. We're off the ledge. That's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. All right, let's go ahead and smack with key residence. Let's activate the blast. And that almost effectively ends combat.